We're that GD podcast. We're
Dude,
that GD podcast.
Let's just record ourselves
We're
singing
that GD
acapella.
podcast.
It's
Oh,
better,
Morgan,
real quick.
Not Morgan or Red.
Can we talk about
We
my
got another
buddy
one out
Docs that when I sent him the first episode,
Yes.
it says that GD podcast, and then you used a picture from my house on New Year's Eve where we're standing like prom pose style, and I'm trying to kiss Kyle's neck.
Yes.
And
I
I
don't
said
think
that
you
to him.
tried.
What's funny is we all talked about that GD podcast. This didn't pop in any of our heads. The second Doc saw it, he goes, "Oh, that gay dude podcast," and sent it back. And I sent it to y'all and all of us at the same time. I think we're just like, oh,
A 30-second reply was like, we've been had.
I'm sure you've heard that thing where, if you jack in a girl's face, it's supposed to be good for their skin.
Yeah.
I've been trying that with myself, and it's not working.
You gotta try harder.
Straight onto your face?
What?
Is that not how it goes? No. Let's do a Daisy Dukes washing a car photo.
You guys are gonna get canceled real fast. Do not say that.
So we could, instead of clapping, since the ice drop is loud.
Yeah, that's
I'll
actually
just
not a
hold
bad
it
idea.
and Blink.
Not a bad idea at all.
That sounds like my cue. Oh. Have we started? Are we rolling?
I mean, we can start. Yeah, we can start.
I was going to ask, do we have a consistent? Ooh, it's cold in my hand now that we're not starting yet.
Who would have thought this ice is cold? And bullying has a negative connotation.
We're
It's ridiculous.
We'll just
you
start with
get
this.
what I meant.
All
we
right.
can start with this. On 3. 1, 2, 3. You gotta drop it.
Oh, wait. 1,
Drop it
2,
in the
3,
mic.
then go, or drop on 3?
1, 2, 3. Drop in the
Okay.
mic, so we get the sound.
So we kind of drop it
Kyle,
on 4?
Kyle, in the mic. I need the sound spike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Close enough.
Nailed it.
Perfect.
I think it was great.
I think it was perfect.
So what kind of whiskey are you supplying tonight?
This is Iron Root Republic. So it is an Iron Root Harbinger. It's brewed in a small town of Denison, Texas.
Denison.
Yes.
I know one guy from Denison, Texas. Wait, are you actually from Denison, or your
No.
dad just lived there?
Just my family.
Okay, got it.
Family's from there. But they did win, like their first year, they won some sort of international whiskey challenge thing.
Nice.
It has a light cork.
A light cork, so it's not weighted. It
Correct.
doesn't feel valuable at all. It makes me not want to buy it.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to That GD podcast. I'm joined with my friends Kyle, Andy, and myself, J. Ray. I have a fun little day planned for us. I believe some good stories lined up. But yeah, we got this Iron Root Harbinger. You should get it.
Let me see that guy.
Yeah. Read about it. Kyle, how was your day while he's reading?
That was good. Finished like 6 hours of meeting straight, and then I had nothing left to give. So I just read.
You were read?
I was reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's all I had.
Nice. Yeah. My day was typical. I worked and nothing awesome happened at all. Nothing bad happened though.
Oh.
Like that's a win.
Did have a cool thing. Went to go watch Carter's gymnastics afterwards, and she was able to jump from the lower bar to the higher bar. First one in her class to be able
On
to
the
do that.
uneven bars?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, when you say jump from, like
So-
swinging up to?
No, that would be really impressive. But she's able to get herself to circle it now, and then she stands up on the lower bar and jumps to the higher bar.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I got video.
Hopefully,
Where was my video?
I've been running since I got here until I
Fair enough.
got here, and then I've been sitting here waiting for setup.
you should ask your daughter if she wants that. I don't know if you've seen upstairs. We have one of those gymnastics bars meant for doing the backward hip circle or whatever. And while I'm working from home, my daughter's up there doing that, and I just hear it all day long. So I'd love to gift that to you guys. So it's out of my house.
Nope.
Yeah,
No thanks.
all yours, buddy.
I don't have an upstairs, so that'd be helpful. But
Put it in the garage, man. Put a crash mat down. She'll be fine.
No.
Yeah.
no,
Cars go in the garage at the Skinner's house.
that's right.
That's never been a thing with me. I've always said I want to put the car in the garage, and then I put all my crap in the garage, and there's no room for a car.
This is a hill I'm willing to die on.
Yes.
Cars go in the garage?
Cars go in the garage.
I agree with you. I just have too many
You
hobbies.
can line the walls and put all the storage stuff up you want. Cars go in. I think it's because when we had Abby and went straight into winter after we had Abby, and we lived in an upstairs apartment and had to park outside, had to deal with all the crap when we went up to the apartment, the cold weather, the ice and all that. And it's like
Ice
the second
on
we
stairs.
bought a house, we're like, cars go in here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It has been a thing ever since I've been going to your house.
Absolutely. And anytime I go to yours, I'm like, I mean, your truck's big.
My truck won't fit in the garage.
Your truck won't fit in the garage.
It is too tall.
But cargo's
So,
in.
my question there though is where do you put all your stuff? Because like when I walk my neighborhood, everybody in my neighborhood has like 3-car garages, and I'll walk by and a garage door will be open, and it's just empty. There's not even lawn equipment, and it's like where is the stuff?
I
Like,
have a shed for lawn equipment.
so we're not allowed to have sheds, HOAs. It sucks, but I don't get like I also have a problem where if I play a new sport one time, I go out and buy all the equipment.
Yeah.
So I have equipment to do a lot of stuff that I haven't done in a while, and just in case I do it again, I got to keep it. So
Yeah, we got the lawn stuff in the back, and for material stuff, we're kind of minimalists. We don't have a lot of stuff.
You don't.
I don't.
You have a sick basketball goal.
Yes, yeah. That my 12-year-old helped install this glass basketball
Yeah.
goal, lifting it over her head to hand it to me on a ladder. It was awesome. Proud moment.
Yeah, definitely proud dad. So okay, when you play sports, you say like, is this has this always been a thing for you? Like you go all in, get everything for
Yeah.
it? Or is that so? Like from like childhood up.
childhood, my parents wouldn't let me have it, but as soon as I started making my own money, if me and you went and played racquetball tomorrow, the next day I would have the best racquetball racket that like Dick's Sporting Goods sells. I wouldn't go too far, but like I'd go to Dick's and be like, show me the top of the line. And then like the next time we showed up, I'd still be as bad, but I'd have a baller racket. Like
See,
that's
I'm different on that. I'm scouring Facebook Marketplace. Like,
Yeah.
started to get into golf. I'm like, all right, let's see if I can find something reasonable for $100. Let's see if I can get a set of irons for $200.
dude, I haven't even played pickleball yet, and I constantly am on the search for pickleball like paddles.
Okay,
Like,
I have a pickleball paddle in
see?
my trunk right now.
Yeah. There's something about when you walk into when I used to play pool, like in my early 20s, like I never did this, but if somebody walked in and like popped their case on the table and like open it up and there's their special cue, I've always been amazed by that stuff. So I want to be that guy.
Such small dick energy at the same time.
I love that though.
It's the same thing as someone showing up to just like hanging out with your friends going bowling, and they show up with like a rolling bag full of bowling balls. Like, okay,
Dude.
we're not doing that today.
The movie Kingpin, remember the ball he had
Yes.
with the rose?
Yes.
For
Very
my whole life, I've wanted that specific ball, and I want it in the bag, and I want to be the guy that walks in and pulls out my own shoes, and that rose ball, and then sucks, and then bowls like a 110.
Have you found it?
No, so I haven't looked that hard, but one day I'm gonna have it.
We'll make one.
Get it?
So
Yeah.
it's got to be made somewhere.
Oh, 100%.
There's companies where they'll put whatever, like a bottle of Crown or whatever. They'll put whatever you want in the bowling ball.
A mold of my testicles.
Yeah. I'm gonna get that
As
ball.
the ball. Yeah, you're not wrong because like you had like enough for 4 of us to go disc golfing.
I brought like 1/10 of my discs that day too. Disc golf is the dumbest thing. I'm sorry, I'm going to go off on disc golf for a minute,
that's
but
fine.
everybody always tells you when you start, you're like, oh, dude, like for $100, you can get everything you need and you can go play anywhere. It's like 7 discs in a bag. You got this. And it's like getting tattoos. Like if you get into it, like if a new disc comes out, you drop what you're doing to get that new disc. And then if you have a favorite disc, you buy 2 more of it so that if you lose your one, you got a backup. And before you know it, you have like a stack of discs in your garage and you're only taking 20 at a time. So yeah.
Dude, I heard that the Mind Melder, Mind Twister, Mind
Bender. Yeah.
Mind Bender is a hot item right now.
So that's not the hot one at the moment. The new one is the MVP Trail, which is a 10-speed like fairway driver. I guess it's driver.
10 speed like a bike.
No, 10-speed like as in how hard you're supposed to throw it. Dude, it's so crazy. There's flight numbers on a disc that like based off how hard you want to throw it, if you want it to turn left or right, like I spend too much time studying disc golf stuff, and I'm still terrible at it. Like I'm not that good, but
It kind of blew my mind one of the first times I went over to your house and you had like the Sunday championship of disc golf on the TV. I'm like, oh, he is into it.
yeah,
He's into it. Like, I wouldn't know where to find that on the telly.
That's right. I'm a 40-year-old man, and I waited in line to get like a 30-year-old disc golfer's autograph a year ago. And as I was standing there, I was like, man, this is really weird. But at the same time, like, I can't wait to meet him. And so, yeah, that's...
Hey, I have done the same thing for pro wrestling, so I can't
Yep. There you go.
say much.
But I have like 10 signed discs in my office that I'm just waiting to put on the wall. And every time I think about it, I'm like, if anybody walks in here that doesn't know disc golf, they're going to think... Yeah, I don't know what they're going to think, but they're going on my wall.
That would be me. Yeah.
They'd be thinking nerd. Can you do me a favor? All right, so on topic. Anybody have any good stories from their childhood when you were a bit reckless, doing something wild or borderline like you might die that they want to share? The reason why I'm asking is this. We've got daughters. And what is your reaction if you catch your daughter doing the same thing that you did that you survived through?
We're in a different role now.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't be a dumbass. That's my job. That was my job. But we wouldn't allow. I guess it depends how risky you're getting. Are we talking playing tackle football, or are we talking jumping down a flight of stairs, like a 18
Anything that you
flight
did.
of stairs? Yeah,
Something that you did. Like, okay, so for me, like where I lived when I grew up in Albuquerque, it was a huge hill. I lived across the street from, well, my backyard backed up to the school, the elementary school I went to. And there was probably a 50-foot hill that was, I'd say, a solid 15 to 25 degree grade. And at the end of it, because they do get snow in Albuquerque, they built a berm. So they would all collect there and then funnel down into the arroyos, the ditches. And in the summer, it was just a dirt berm. So we got up at the top of the hill with our bikes, rode down, and saw who could jump the furthest.
Okay.
Then it was see who could do the best trick in the air. No helmets, no nothing, just whoosh,
How many
crazy.
broken bones?
For me, none.
Friends?
Like 4.
Okay. Sounds about right.
Gashes. Usually we just get like the road rash when it like, because they didn't have grass where we were. It was just all gravel. So you're going down this hill, you make your jump, and the back end gets a little squirrely, and whoo, you swipe out.
See, I think that's what's missing today because I feel like that's part of being a boy. Like if you were successfully a boy and made it through your childhood, you should have broken a bone or two or had some scars from doing some dumb stuff. This is from the time I tried to jump off the house or whatever it is. And we're super helicopter-y as parents right now. And it's probably not the right way to say it. But we were real protective. And I know there's a million things that I used to do. Not anything that I would have died. But if I caught my daughter doing today, I would chew her out. And I did it. I was never in the house and I never had supervision growing up. Like as soon as I was allowed to leave the house, my mom would say, eat your cereal. And as soon as I could, I was gone and I was not home until I had to be. Like the very last minute that I could possibly be out, I was out. And back then, nobody thought, I don't think they thought about we're going to get abducted or, there was no Apple trackers. What are those little,
AirTags.
There were no AirTags or Life 360. You were just gone from 9:30 a.m. until dinner time, and it was cool. I wouldn't let my daughter do that at all now. If my daughter just said, I'm going to go out the front door and I'll be back in a couple hours, no, ma'am, like not happening.
Why is that?
I don't know. So I'll say the neighborhood I'm in, I feel safe in. I feel like my daughter's safe, but at the same time, like the only way she could do that is if I'm tracking her the whole way. It's because you know why it is? It's because everybody has a cell phone camera, and we hear about every abduction.
Yep.
Every abduction in America. Where I think I've heard this a bunch, but back in the day, the same amount of kids were getting abducted. You just never heard about it. It was like, a kid the town over got abducted, and he kind of didn't make the news.
It's on the Walmart wall.
Yeah.
Violent crimes are down since the 80s. And
100%.
like, we just
Probably
hear about everything
100%.
that happens, and it could be in Henrietta, and we're like, oh damn, that's nearby. I mean, kind of, but like it happened once in Oklahoma in the past 12 months, and that's all. And you've heard about it 8 times in the 80s. Maybe you read it in a newspaper.
If you read the news,
Maybe.
or saw it on the nightly news.
Yeah.
So
I just think that I think that was a really good point and something to bring up is a little bit of paralysis in parenting nowadays, that we're scared that we're living in the worst time and the terrible things are happening all around us, and they aren't at any greater rate than they ever were. But we're so much more familiar with it. We're so much more familiar hearing about it. And I try to remind myself of that when my daughter's like, can we go play at the park? Yeah, that's a block away. Yes, go play at the park. Like, there's obviously conditions and things that have to be met. It's got to be daylight. You have to have your phone on you, etc. But I try not to let that fear and the things that you read from something happened in California yesterday.
yeah,
I try not to let that impact my decision making as far as what they can do. Are they going to go play in traffic? I mean, maybe if they went that way, I guess possibly. But if they asked, I would say no, probably.
How much do you think of this is directly because we see the visual now? We used to hear that a kid got abducted, but now you see a Ring video camera of a guy pulling up, grabbing a kid, and yanking him off the front lawn into the car. And I think seeing it makes it way more real.
Sure.
So maybe they did hear about it as much back in the day, but now so many people got cameras and, Big Brother cameras, watching everywhere, but you see everything. So I think the visual is a big part of it.
I don't disagree. I mean, that can pull at your strings more than just reading, doing the combination thereof. You're like, oh, damn, that could happen anytime, anywhere, and it could.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how quick it can happen. That's the key thing. A kid's playing there 1 second, a car pulls up, boom, kid's not there. Nobody saw. Broad daylight.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what makes it more scary, I think.
That was happening in the 80s.
Again, happening, but not on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you got it on camera, that means you were walking around with one of those shoulder-mounted VHS cameras,
Like a boombox?
Yeah, I mean that was my grandmother came and visited every summer and had one of them that she like carried on the plane with her, and the whole time she was in town, she was like a TV station, local weather reporter or whatever. Just
It took the full-size VHS inside of it.
100%. Yeah.
No shit, this was the finale of Seinfeld.
Was it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were walking down the street and some dude's getting mugged.
That's
and what do?
100%,
They
yeah.
pull out and film it.
Yeah.
I think Kramer has got his video recorder.
Yeah.
It was a terrible ending. It doesn't make any sense still.
Didn't either of you guys watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No.
So they ended Curb this last year, and they pretty much got a chance to redo it. They kind of did the same plot where he ends up in jail, but I don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say this. They had a chance to make up for it, and they did quite well.
Yeah, I mean, they could have broken any law to end up in jail.
I think it was the Good Samaritan
Good
law.
Samaritan
Yeah.
law, where they just didn't do anything to help somebody. The thing the police have always asked you not to do.
Hey, real quick, just because I know my wife will hear this. Fun story with my wife, red flag. We'd been dating for a year or two, and at one point I put on Seinfeld, and she was like, Seinfeld, I hate this show. And I was like, well, hold on, time out. You don't like Seinfeld? And she was like, yeah, I don't think it's funny. So I was like, no, watch an episode with me. You haven't really sat down and watched. She watched an episode, and she was like, yeah, this isn't funny at all. And that's the one red flag the whole time I've been with my wife that still makes me uneasy.
Huge Seinfeld fan. I could sit down and watch the
Yeah.
entire thing.
That worries
Again
me
today.
about.
Were you a Seinfeld person?
I like Seinfeld. I didn't sit down and watch Seinfeld.
Were you a Friends person?
I hate Friends.
Okay, good. Yeah.
All right,
Friends
then
is
we're good.
awful. I said what I said.
Yeah, no, I think we're all in agreement here. The humor does not hit me at all. I saw Curb was like the third longest running show of all time, and it's not because it has that many episodes.
He would take a couple years off.
There'd be
like,
years,
yeah.
and years between.
And they would tell him, they're like, whenever you're ready for another season, just come back and do it. And so, yeah, if he didn't have anything good to do, he'd take it off. But
So I pulled it up. I watched the first 3 episodes not that long ago, probably early in the summer. And I'm like, there's 12 seasons, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I turned it on. I'm like, this is shot in the same era Seinfeld was.
Yeah.
This
It
is the
was
same
right after
quality
Seinfeld. Yeah.
of camera. It's shocked me because I'm like, it was released in 2012. Okay, cool. No, it was 1998 or 2000 or something like that. I don't know what it was.
We probably have better cameras in here,
Yeah.
quality-wise.
100%.
quick check. We're going to try not to let this happen. But last time we suddenly devolved into a movie podcast.
Yeah, that's fine.
And now we're talking TV shows. So I'm just pointing that out if we want to back away from this topic.
I get
but,
a little passionate about Seinfeld.
yeah.
I think just having conversation. We're just chilling.
Hey, I think the longest running TV show, though, Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yep.
That's
That's what always gets me. That's what brings up that conversation every
Gotcha.
time because
Yeah.
I'm a huge It's Always Sunny fan.
great show. So, and yeah, last thing about TV shows and movies for tonight, I promise. I don't promise.
I
Why?
don't.
Hey, your neighbor's shooting again.
Yeah, that's fine.
Everyone get down.
Yeah.
It's Oklahoma. As
This
long
is-
as we don't see any like holes coming in through the wall, I
Yeah.
think we should be
Well,
okay.
that's what those are actually. That's just the
It's
sunset.
The light's poking through.
Yeah, that's just the sunset. It just kind of hits different refractors, changes colors a little bit.
Yeah, I think being born in Texas or Oklahoma, like you can casually be like, oh, gunshots, and it's not a deal. Like I think if we were from other parts of the world, one gunshot and we'd be under your desk together hugging, like
If we were in a different part of Tulsa, we would
Yeah,
be
Yeah, that's true.
Anywhere else, really.
when the first gunshot went off earlier, you were like, oh, that's Russell or whatever. You just automatically you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, it's Russell.
So
No, I mean, if we were in my neighborhood, in Broken Arrow, in a safe part of Broken Arrow, it's not where you shoot guns.
No.
So we would also be interested in not
Yeah.
being standing erect.
yeah. But, so I'm gonna bring us back on topic though.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I racked my brain today because I was like, what are the things that I would be the most mad about? I was just I had no regard for the fact that I could get injured,
Right.
but it was never any great story. Like I rode my bike into a mailbox full speed one time. I was going down a
Into a
hill,
mailbox.
going down a hill as fast as I could, and my feet slipped off the pedals, and I was dumb enough to like look down for the pedals.
Oh, yeah.
And the next thing I knew, I hit a brick mailbox, and my 4th grade pictures were like the next day or like 2 days later. So forever, these pictures, my face is just jacked up. Anyhow, yeah, but it was a disregard for my body. I see that in my child, and I'll bet it's in yours too, where she'll get ready to jump off of something, and I'm just like, hey, you could hurt yourself.
Yeah, like, don't do that.
And I wish I had the body of a young child again because I see them take falls, dude. You'll know what I'm talking about. I see them take falls
Got that,
where
got that.
I would be down for a while and they just pop right back up. Like
yeah.
Kill for that again.
I'm a big proponent for never stop stretching now.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that. No one ever told me that as a kid. And now, I'm like, you see these gymnasts and things that are going into their 20s and 30s and they still have the complete flexibility and can take falls and can take hits. And like, all I had to do was stretch.
Yeah, no one told me that.
Dude, yoga is one of those things where I believe them. I've had several people tell me that like one of the best things I could do would be to start doing yoga right now.
Yep.
And I fully believe it. But I had a buddy of mine that lives in Austin one time he was like, I'm going to teach you Warrior One or whatever it was. And when he showed it to me, I was like, that's all I got to do. And like, I did it. And then he made me like get in the proper stance. And then I was like, okay, and my legs are shaking. I'm like, what now? And he's like, just hold that for a while. It was so not cool. Like when you watch somebody do it, you're like, oh, downward dog, touch your toes, easy. A lot rougher than you think. So that's what the three of us should start doing yoga and like reporting back every week about how our yoga's going.
Done.
I think that'd be an awesome. It'd be good for us and it'd be entertaining.
So I did yoga for about 5 months, but I only did the stretching yoga. I didn't do like the hot room yoga that all these people are doing. Like I don't know what they call it, but
Hot yoga, I think.
hot
Something
yoga,
like that, yeah.
Sweaty yoga, farty yoga. I don't know.
Hot box yoga.
Hot box yoga. I think that's different.
That's the kind of yoga I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I did feel a lot better stretching wise. Like joints didn't hurt and whatnot. Inflammation went. And here I am. We're old. We're talking about inflammation
And Seinfeld.
and Seinfeld. But I did feel a lot better. So we're gonna start yoga tomorrow.
I'm down. Yeah, I've been needing to start it. Which, talking about being old and talking about inflammation and like hydrating. I brought this up probably to you before, but like when I was a kid, I don't remember my dad
Nobody
ever.
drank water.
Thank you.
I've
Yeah.
talked about this so damn much.
Yeah.
My dad never picked up a bottle of water in his entire life. He is still alive, and I have no idea how.
It was Dr. Pepper and cigarettes is what my dad lived on.
Yeah, beer and other beer. No, Diet Coke.
Dude, almost all my friends that are my age, I've had a conversation with them one-on-one about like the need to drink more water and to stay hydrated. Like it seems very common, and I'm wondering how they got away with not doing that in the 80s.
The big water is out to get us.
Yeah.
It's like big pharma. Big water is out to get us.
They've
because-
convinced us.
No, they've 100% convinced me because if I don't drink 100 ounces of water a day, I feel like shit.
Dude, I put thought into it. Every morning I have 2 Yeti bottles that I take to my little work at home desk, and I'm like, I got to kill these by 5. And I'll laugh because one day I'll be just tight. I don't feel right. And I'm like, oh, I'm a little dehydrated. And I'll have to think back. And it's like, did I have my water? Yeah, he's shooting a lot. But I'll realize, like, oh, I didn't have enough water yesterday. You had what was it you had the other day? A nosebleed or something? And you were like, oh, yeah, I'm dehydrated.
Yeah. Nose just started bleeding. Like, I don't know where.
My dad
Yeah.
could drink. I am 36. I am a moderate to over moderate drinker at times, mostly during the weekends and during podcast time. My dad could put down a 12-pack of Coors Lights watching football on a Sunday and not ever drink an ounce of water and seem to be fine the next day.
What is
Maybe
this-
he just didn't tell me. He didn't just show it on his face.
Are you just like wusses?
Yeah, that's my biggest. That's my biggest concern. That I'm just a baby. Yeah.
We could be. Yeah, we're too pampered or something. I put some stock in that. So, and also I think our dads like, have either of you guys ever like cleaned up your eating or lost a lot of weight and realized like a big change in your body?
Yeah.
So I never realized how bad I felt on a daily basis till I like lost 50 pounds and started eating right. And then now if I have one day where I just kind of cheat my ass off diet wise, the next day I feel horrible. But then I think about it and it's
2
like,
days.
I think I used to feel like that every day. So it
Probably.
never felt weird. And maybe our dads were just walking around like that all the time.
Probably,
yeah,
and they
never
just
did
didn't
enjoy
bitch
it.
about it on a podcast.
Men didn't
That's-
complain back then.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I think there's a meme like going to the doctor and they're like, do you feel any pain? Like, yeah,
All the
the normal amount of pain. What's the normal amount of pain I should be feeling? None. Oh, wait, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be feeling any pain because I'm like on a 4 right now, and that's my normal.
The baseline is
Yeah.
a 4.
Yeah, that's
Every
my
day I'm
0.
hurting a little bit.
Yeah.
You guys Louis C.K. fans?
Oh yeah.
He has that one bit about the doctor asks him, like, how many times a day do you eat and how many times a day do you go to the bathroom? And he's like, I don't keep track of this. It's just I eat and shit all day long or something like that. And it's like, yeah, that's how a lot of people live. There's no daily rhythm to their bowel movements or eating or whatever. They're just, sorry.
Talks about his ankle, and he's like,
Your ankle's just all shitty now.
and that's just how it is. Like, you gotta live
Like,
with that.
what if I was an athlete? You're not an athlete. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's some of the best.
No, the whole smoking meats and things like that has actually helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because on a Sunday I'll smoke wings or I'll smoke a brisket and while I'm watching
You're
football,
meal
as opposed to eating pizza and just a whole bunch of carbs and a whole bunch of bread and a whole bunch of shit that I'd like the next day I would feel awful. So this way I can just have meat,
So,
just meat.
and you all recently, like in the past 2 months, went back to gluten free. Do you feel better?
Yeah, joint pain is better.
Joint pain is better.
Yeah.
Okay. My sister was the first person I ever heard say anything about gluten. And like, this was, I'm going to probably say 2006 or 7. This is way back. And she was like, yeah, it turns out I'm allergic to gluten. And I'd never even heard that. And I was convinced. I was like, she's making this shit up. Like, she's into health and nutrition, whatever. And for 2 or 3 years, she kept telling me like, since I stopped having gluten, I feel so much better. A couple years later, it caught fire. And I'm like, oh, she was right. But to this day, I'm just kind of like, gluten. It's hard to, you tell me, isn't it hard to be gluten free? Like, I don't
Not
want
at
to put
all.
the effort into it. What?
Not at all.
Okay.
How many times a day do you eat white bread?
Right now, not much because I'm still dieting, but
Okay.
yeah.
So you're probably close.
You're probably closer than you think.
Okay. Pizza's got gluten, right?
Yeah.
So-
Yes. You have to make your own or
Like
buy
the
it.
cauliflower crust is a
Yeah.
thing.
And there's some that do it really well, but most places don't.
Gotcha.
So yeah, pizza sucks.
Yeah. My cheat meals are primarily carbs. Like if
Yeah.
I'm cheating, I'm going carb heavy.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Those Sundays used to just be a ton of carbs. My wife has a medical condition that gluten does not do well with her. Her
Gotcha.
mom and sister are both very allergic to gluten.
Yes.
Like they will get violently ill if they have it. They're that kind. So I don't need to, but usually I drop about 10 pounds after about a month of not being on it, and my joints just feel better probably because I lost 10 pounds.
Inflammation. I think you said it a minute ago, but that's
So, the reason why I'm bringing this up,
okay.
do you think our kids are going to be better off than we are?
No. And it's our fault, but it's a variety of things. It's not just us being overprotective, not letting them do crazy things. It's the pampered lifestyle that they live, and there's no getting around it. I mean, our children and us right now sitting in here are way more pampered than 80 or 40 years ago.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Better off health-wise. Not having to,
Yes.
at 36, I need to diet. At
Yes.
25, I need to diet.
I think at least in mine and your family, I know that I'd say Justin's, just because I'm around him while we talk about nutrition all the time with our kids.
Yeah.
When I was being brought up, yeah, you had to get your protein.
I didn't even know what protein was.
Yeah, something, but you have to eat your meat. You got to eat your veggies occasionally, but that's all you really ever heard. I think they're much more cognizant of what they're eating now. Do they still want to eat shit all the time? Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to also.
Like, I grew up with, I don't know about you all, but like, raised by a single father. I had Hamburger Helper pretty much 7 days a week, unless I had some sort of sporting training that lasted until dinner time, and then we just got Burger King. But it was Hamburger Helper poured on a slice of white bread, so that we could extend the meal longer.
Right.
And I explained this to my kids, and they said, "Why'd you put it on bread? What's Hamburger Helper?" And I'm like, "Okay, maybe I should."
No, even if you just narrowed it down to the water drinking,
Yeah.
even if you just did that, yeah, I think they'll be better off.
I drank a lot of water as a kid because, you drink out of the hose on the side of the house or the faucet on the side of the house. It was
The only time I drink water is during activity, during sports, during that. I didn't go home and drink water. I drank tea. We had sodas in our house all the time, so I was allowed to have one soda a day, so I had two.
that makes sense. Math checks out.
Yeah, and there was always Goldfish and Cheez-Its. So I'd eat that when I got home from school. Then I'd go to sports, and then I'd eat Burger King on the way home. And there's still those nights, right?
Yeah.
I didn't get home till 8:00 last night. Went to work, went to volleyball, went to soccer. Last night Morgan cooked, so that was nice.
Yeah.
that was nice. But that's not always available. So we do have those nights where we're like, all right, we're picking up Chick-fil-A on the way home.
Yeah.
I got a long answer, but I think it's going to be more like economics related. Like, I think for the past while, to eat healthy obviously costs a lot more than to eat crap food. And just looking at the amount of people in America that we're in the world that we have to feed, and then I think the whole what's the burger that was created in a lab that's not actually burger meat?
Beyond.
Beyond Burger.
Yeah.
I think we're heading in a direction where, like, just to keep people fed, like, that's going to become more Monsanto, GMOs, all that stuff. And that bothers me. I wish, what are all the books like the Cook with Real Butter, like your grandma used to, and all that. Now I think we're going to get further and further away from that.
I'm big on that.
What's that?
I'm big on that. I don't say, I'm not saying the carnivore diet is the right thing to do for most people, but like just cook nice meats and real things that are come from animals, and then like some veggies with it. You're going to have a pretty good diet.
Like I said, I'm just afraid that what's going to start being available, not next year, but 15 years from now.
I mean, you're right.
It's going to be that kind of stuff
We're
that I
getting
don't trust.
further away from the genesis of food, right?
Yeah.
Even 60, 70 years ago, food was mostly 4 or 5 ingredients. And now we're getting towards 10, 15, 20, 30 ingredients in bread. Mm-hmm. White. I mean, look at the difference. I challenge you to look at the difference between the ingredients in white bread or wheat bread, either one, 50 years ago, and look at it now.
I think, I can't remember who, it might have been Subway or something like that, but like what Subway classifies as bread, you can't legally call bread in Europe. Like it'd be like a sweet treat or a sugar bread or whatever. Like
I do buy
like a
that.
Hostess cupcake. So
It's one nice part about shopping at Aldi.
yeah.
They still have a bunch of stuff in their things.
Yeah, but there's a lot of European options that don't allow dyes, don't allow all the things that some people are concerned about. So
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Yeah.
Man, we got off track.
No, I mean, it's like our kids probably will be healthier than
I think
us.
so.
I think so.
But real quick I'm going to take us all the way back to the, stuff we used to do as children.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys, as either a kid or a teen or even in your early 20s, did you ever have a moment where you're like, oh shit, I almost died? Like that was like that moment. Like I have 2 moments like that just stick with me that I remember. And it's like, yeah, I fucking lucky to be alive after that happened. You guys have any moments like that? One?
Yeah.
Care sharing it?
You go first since you have two.
Kyle?
No, you go first.
Oh,
You have
man.
2. I'll go second or third.
I'm only going to tell one of mine. The other ones I'd have
Okay.
to get up and show you with hand movements. I don't want to do that.
On your knees.
Have I told you about the time I got like taken out by the Secret Service at College Station?
I believe so,
Yes.
but refresh my
Yes.
memory.
Have I told- okay.
Refresh my memory.
So you got to say no next time. So then it seems like I have a reason to tell the story.
No.
But no, when I think I was 19 or 20. I was, I had buddies that went to A&M. One of my buddies was in the Corps at A&M. So yeah, you're an A&M guy.
I am an Aggie.
And this is the year. This had to have been like 2003 or 4, I guess. But OU was undefeated going into the last game of the year, and they were possibly gonna go to the big bowl game or whatever. And their last game was at Kyle Field. I had worked the night before till 11. I left Arlington, Texas at 11, headed south, and was drinking the whole way. I had like an 18-pack of Keystone Light and a bottle of vodka and drank the whole way there. Got there at 4:30 in the morning, and my friends were still drinking. They were just all-nighter drinking.
Yes,
So
our
we
kids
just-
are going to be better off health-wise
I
than we
think so.
were. Yes, let's go on.
Dude, at the game's like an 11 a.m. game, and I'm there, and I'm watching my buddy march like with the Corps through the area outside the stadium. I have an Aquafina 1-liter bottle that's full of vodka. I'm doing well. I also have one of those old school cameras with the disposable one that you wind. Yeah, I had one of those for whatever reason. And all of a sudden, while we're standing outside the stadium, guys in like jeans and blazers get out and with earpieces and start like making a corridor for somebody to walk through. So I see this and I'm immediately like not paying attention to anything else. Like who's about to walk through here? A black SUV pulls up and George H.W. Bush gets out, 41. And in a drunken stupor, I tossed my phone to one of my buddies and I was like, take my picture with Bush. And I just ran right through the police line.
Wait, did you toss the phone or the wind-up camera?
The wind-up camera. What did I say? Phone?
You said phone, like, that's the error.
2024 brain. But yeah, I tossed my camera to my
Play
buddy.
Snake.
I said, here, take my picture. And I ran right through the little line they had set up. And I tell you this, I got 2 steps past that line, maybe 3. And I got taken down so artfully. Like one guy grabbed this arm, one guy grabbed this one, and like 2 separate guys grabbed my legs, and I just went down. Like there was no fighting it at all. I was on the ground. They were all over me. And I remember while I was on the ground, I looked over and Bush was on the ground as well. Like they had,
they tackled him?
yeah, well, they I don't know how hard they tackled him, but he was down with people hovering over him like this was an attempt on his life. And at one point, I heard him say, let him up. It was definitely Bush's voice. He was like, let him up, let him up. And I was telling them as I'm on the ground, I was like, I just wanted a picture. I was drunk. And he ended up telling him to let me up and then was like, come here, young man, take a picture. And every picture with the president, you're doing like the handshake. And I had like one arm around him and was drunk. And I'm holding my Aquafina bottle full of, I still have that picture in my office.
Send it to me. We'll
yeah,
put it up.
it's
Wow, I've never heard that story.
sorry. Yeah, you got to act like you have it next time.
Sorry,
But-
that's on me. That's on
But
me.
it wasn't
I'm a
until
rook.
I sobered up later that day, and I was like, they could have shot me so easily,
Did.
like, and they would have been justified.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Big burly guy. No beard at the time, right?
no, I mean, I was 19 or 20, something like that, and had a backward hat and an Old Navy performance fleece on.
Nice.
And I was on TV that day actually because I got to sit in the core block with my buddy, so they're all wearing like their tan.
Their turd uniforms.
Yeah, they're all wearing that, and I'm wearing a backward A&M hat and a gray performance fleece, so I stuck out like a sore thumb. So every time they'd show the core block, like I was just very prominent right there.
There's
so.
Andy.
I was drunk on SportsCenter with David Hasselhoff.
With Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
What?
The Hoff?
Yeah.
No.
Tell me about it.
I went to University of Arizona.
Wait, what'd you study there?
Ponies.
Okay.
Horsies.
Horsies?
In general.
Horsey science?
Yeah, horses. And we were at a football game, and I just happened to go there at the time where we were actually kind of relevant in football. And, you know, we
You're
had,
relevant now.
not since and not before, though.
Okay.
We had Gronk, so it was kind of legendary.
Fair enough.
But I happened to live on a floor with David Hasselhoff's daughter. And
Well, 1 to 10.
6.5.
Okay.
Ego was like an 11.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was not
Okay.
not
Just
worth
checking.
the time. I checked into it. It wasn't worth the time. But randomly, he just walks down to the student section in the middle of a game, and I'm probably had my 1 liter of Aquafina by that point, and I'm just like grabbing onto him, and we're all just sitting there yelling and screaming. I go back, go to sleep, not paying any attention, and I wake up and I probably have 50 text messages from people back home, like, "Why the hell were you on SportsCenter?" And so I wake up and I turn it on, and yep, they show here we are at the Arizona game, and like, don't hassle the Hoff, and I'm just sitting there like, just like back and forth on his shoulders, just like you're talking about, and like, oh, that's weird. Turns out it was shown on ABC. Turns out it was shown on ESPN.
Heck yeah.
I'm like, interesting.
So, quick question. Do you remember, was his daughter's name Haley?
Yeah, I think so.
She's a plus size model now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Send me that picture. So, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're gonna put
Anyhow,
that on
sorry. I was curious. I had to put a visual
I think
to
that's
it.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, it's been 15 years.
Okay. So,
Is
anyhow,
that right? 15. She
Oh, wait, but
no,
you
yeah,
didn't-
16.
you didn't almost die in that story, though. I'm looking for a near death experience.
No, so this was a driving thing.
Okay.
I was 16.
Okay, hold on. Go ahead. No, actually, you know what? Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Across the street from my house, we lived right out where we are right now, just down the street a few miles. And across the street was like almost a quarter mile of just a straight neighborhood. Just
Like straight people. Sorry.
As opposed to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
the road was straight.
Got.
And it was kind of hilly. And I thought, this is cool, so I can just go really, really fast down this street. And I'd done it quite a few times and never had a problem. One time I just decided not to slow down in time. So I was slamming on my brakes and could not stop in time for the major road that I was going into and had to pull out. And somehow I pulled out, saved it, and pulled into the lane going. But I'm like, if any car had been driving or I didn't save it, I went straight into like a 4-foot ditch going 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. And that, yeah, I wouldn't suggest my kids do that.
So I gotta say though, I think every young man that gets his driver's license has one of those moments where they almost wreck their car or die. That they almost need that to then realize that it could
Shit,
happen.
this is serious.
Do you think that that's a daughter thing too? Or I hope it's not, but I mean, I think girls are they're not trying to show off. I hope they're not as reckless behind the wheel.
I think this might come off a little sexist. I think they suffer more from distracted driving, friends
Okay.
in the car, things of that nature. Maybe phones, maybe.
Maybe.
That's a hypothesis. That would be the bigger risk.
Okay. And the reason why I wanted to stop you, but I waited till afterward. Kyle and I have agreed that we are swapping roles as who is going to teach who how to drive. So when Ainsley is of driving age, Kyle will be the one teaching her how to drive. And when Abby's of driving age, I'm going to be the one.
That's smart.
It's going to be really hard with you guys body checking each other across the.
It's going to be such a blast. We probably should get a Jeep. So that
I really think this is going to work, and I think we can do the same thing with Lennon Carter and Mia.
We could
I
do
think
it.
so too. Swap.
Yeah,
Just rotate one.
yeah. I I think it makes a lot of sense.
Real quick, distracting driving wise, my wife hates me for this, but right before we moved up here, she hit a sign going to work at 5 a.m, and she was adjusting her makeup driving to work and hit a sign. And Lennon was like 4 or 5 at the time. But I told her, I said, yeah, because when she got home, we saw the damage. And I told Lennon, probably out of anger, I was like, yeah, your mom was distracted. She was looking at her makeup in the mirror. And so that's why we shouldn't blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And to this day, Lennon randomly is like, Mom, remember that time you were putting on it? And every time she brings it up, I get a death stare. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I only said it once, but you know how kids remember that little thing? Anyhow, sorry.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
You sealed yourself
Yeah,
there, man.
it's
Like
forever.
you suffer the doghouse that night, and then just randomly,
Yeah,
your
she
child's like, "I want to mess with you today."
Yeah, she doesn't even know she's throwing you under. I don't think.
I don't think she
Not
does,
yet,
but
anyway.
if we're in the car and I'll be, that guy's not even paying attention. She's like, Dad, remember the time that Mom wasn't paying attention and hit the sign? And it's just like, oh.
Nope, don't remember.
Yeah.
No,
Didn't
I've,
happen.
I've never heard that story.
That
Just
was
use
a
your
lie.
podcast thing. I've never heard that story before. No. Thank you.
That was a lie, Lennon.
Yeah, well,
So my near-death experience. This was in high school. I went to high school in Arkansas, and a lot of my friends were Arkansas-type kids. We did wild, crazy things outside, as well you should. A buddy of mine, his parents owned
I'm good for
a horse farm, not a horse farm, a horse stable thingy. What is that called, Kyle? Where you can like board your horses there and you can come visit them. and play with them? Oh, okay. So they had a ton of land in a stable.
Okay.
This was when YouTube was first coming out.
U2 the band or YouTube?
YouTube.
Okay, got it.
YouTube.
Got it.
And we had come across someone who had made a potato cannon. Y'all ever make potato cannons?
Yep. Potato gun, we call it.
Potato
but
gun.
Yeah.
They were a potato gun. And I had a friend who was very convinced he could make a potato cannon. So instead of doing the smaller size conduit, I'm not going to tell you guys how to make a potato gun. We upsized it by quite a bit. And
Check our YouTube later for details.
yeah, it'll be in the description.
Yep.
Anyway, we made a small version first, tested it out, used the small air compressor, like 45 PSI or something like that, and went and shot whatever it was. We had this bright idea. Let's just stuff like wad of like clothing, ripped up shirts or whatever in there and see how much it hurts.
Was this PVC pipe or like what are we talking?
We use PVC.
Okay.
We use PVC for the barrel and the holding of
Okay.
the compressed air. Anyway, so we're shooting each other. What happens if it's wet? Does it hurt more? We're just doing this, right? Then we found a piece of 2.5-inch PVC and got all the fittings for that. Put on a piece of 10-foot copper tube. And like, what can we shoot out of this? Longer barrels to be more accurate.
Yep.
And that's when we realized each of us have our own. What can we do? Well, we're going to shoot them at each other.
Yeah, go to war.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Roman candles.
When we shot a railroad spike, like the thing that holds the railroad ties
You
down
shot that out of your cannon?
out of the cannon
That's lethal.
into a tree, and it went in a solid 3 inches. That's
Yeah.
when we decided maybe this can actually hurt us, because we started experimenting. What can we put in here? And it went from like clothing to more and more hard objects, like
I think I might have zoned. You shot a railroad spike out
of the cannon.
Okay.
But not at anybody, because we
Misunderstood.
understood like this one probably will kill us.
Yeah. I'm glad you
But
saw
leading
that.
up to the railroad spike, it was just progressively getting to be like more and more hard objects, and it was leaving welts and stuff. And we ended up always just picking on our friend Jason. Unfortunately for him, he's that guy. Like in a group of guys, there's always that one guy you pick on. Was that you?
No, I think that's me here.
Oh yes. And so
I think we all take our turn getting picked on.
yeah,
Sorry.
we did shoot an arrow, like a bow and arrow,
Okay.
across the field, which was about 1.5 acres.
Damn.
And we ran as we saw it going towards the trailer park.
I'll bet.
Don't know where it went, but it was good times. And that was our time of almost dying. Now, would I allow my children to do that?
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
would. Yeah, you would.
Absolutely.
On
With
that
supervision. Like if anybody's making a potato gun, like I want to be a part of that. So
What's funny is I think you guys are pretty close as far as protective goes. I would put you a little bit more on the protective side.
I would say I am a helicopter parent. Like I have no shame in saying this. I am absolutely.
I don't take it as a negative. I didn't mean it as a negative at all.
I am way more overprotective than I probably should be.
And I try to allow a little bit more.
Yeah.
But that is one thing where I'm like, yeah, Justin's 100% going to allow that. What if he's there? Not go play out in the stable and do that. That's maybe the difference is you did it without supervision.
None.
Because I know you are a gun owner and you were teaching your daughter's safety. I don't think you just hand them a gun and say, let's go shoot. But Ainsley shot.
Yeah, all of them have shot except for Letty.
Letty hasn't shot.
She's 4.
Hey, I knew Ainsley had, or at least I get her out there. So that kind of thing. If you're there, sure, why not?
That's, I think, the difference, though, in us versus our dads back in the day.
Yeah.
Is if my daughter ran inside and was like, Dad, I'm making a potato gun, I'd be off the couch or whatever. And I'm like, hold on, wait, what are you doing? Like, show me what's going on. If I ran into my dad and was like, Dad, I'm trying to make a potato gun, he'd be like, leave me alone. I'm watching Sports Center.
He would not have cared at all.
No,
That's
my
true.
dad helped me load up our big air compressor so we could try to get 500 PSI into the cannon.
Yeah.
He said, that sounds awesome. Have fun.
That was back in the boys will be boys. Like, they're just out there being kids. It'll be fine.
Had I been a daughter, I don't think he would have had the same response.
Fair.
Is that fair to our daughters? Are we like because they're our daughters, are we keeping them from having?
No, we probably should have been paying our attention to our sons.
I mean, I want my, if I had a son, I'd be like, yeah, shake it off, man. Like your arm's supposed to bend that way, sort of.
You got shot with a railroad tie that went 3 inches into your skin. Go ahead and shake that off, big guy.
Yeah.
I've often said that I think I would treat my son the same way, but I really don't. Like,
I'm sure we wouldn't.
if
There's
I'd be
psychological
hard as hell
things
on
that-
him, but I can't be hard on my daughter. Like, that's my princess. Like, can't do that. So, but if I had a son, I think I'd be like, get up and quit crying.
Yeah, no, I'm plenty hard on my.
Yeah.
At least,
Abby.
See, yeah.
Yours
different
are
kids.
very different
kids.
personalities
Yeah.
and mentalities.
Different kids. Me and Abby, get your ass up, turn it around. We're not doing this today.
So-
Carter, I'll say those same things to Carter. It just comes out different.
So we're talking about stuff that we did that we'd kill our kids doing. As far as parenting, though, if you guys had a moment, I've had several, but is there one moment that sticks out where you said, like me saying mom hit the sign because she wasn't paying attention, and now I'm like, that was a bad mistake. But have you had that moment where you tell your kids something and then they've remembered that ever since, and it's like, that I should have taken my time and explained that better? Any moments like that?
I do have several of those moments where they regularly occur.
This week,
Yeah.
Man, I can picking one off the top of my head. It's just because you asked me,
Sorry.
it's gone.
Dude, I got to say, I turned my kid woke during COVID accidentally, 100%. Like her kindergarten year was like learn from home, and I was at home with her. So I'm sitting there watching the iPad and all that. And on Martin Luther King Day, they didn't really, like, they barely said anything about it. Now that I look back, I'm like, yeah, because it's 5-6-year-olds, whatever. Like, you're not going to, oh, yeah, he got shot in the head. You're not going to cover that part. But I was almost upset with the little bit that they talked about it. And I think the teacher said, like, and ask your parents to tell you more or something like that. So I immediately, as soon as that class was over, I moved in the living room and I was like, MLK for kids on YouTube, like trying to find stuff. And I was not happy. So I ended up really teaching her about MLK. And like, after that, anytime that name even comes up, she's like, Dad, that's the guy they shot in the head, right? The white people shot him in the head. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, that.
I mean,
No, like, and then
hey, I don't hate it.
because
I
of
mean,
that, we started talking.
Hold on, not the MLK. I don't hate that she knows the truth.
Oh no, but because of that, we started talking about the civil rights. You know,
Yep.
what was he trying to
Yep.
do? And at one point, my daughter said, she was like, Dad, when I get older, I want to open up a restaurant, but it's only going to be for black people. I'm not going to let white people in. And I was
Perfect.
just like, oh,
Perfect.
like,
That won't cause any issues at all.
yeah, like,
She took the message. She just didn't.
dude.
She didn't go
Okay,
the right way with it.
but-
It took me one afternoon to radicalize my daughter. I've fixed it since then, but I'm telling you,
she's in
yeah.
the Black Panthers now.
Dude,
and
we were almost there.
she's gone.
The context would be much different in her restaurant versus what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She would be celebrating.
It's celebrating like you deserve this, not you filth, get over there.
But
is
make
what
sure
you
you
get.
use the other
Yeah.
water fountain.
And she would say that because I want them to know how it feels to be excluded, or she'd say something like that. I'm just like, all right.
They're well aware.
But even we took her camping during COVID, and one of my buddies, Clint, who I've talked to you guys about, he has an archaeology, like a PhD in archaeology. He took her into some caves that were like ancient Anasazi like ruins and all that. and there was graffiti on one of them, and he trying to tell her, but he was like, yeah, you see that? That's graffiti. That's from the white man coming in here and defacing this, blah blah blah. So after that, we were in a parking lot of a grocery store, and there was trash in the middle of like the parking lot. And she was like, Dad, there's trash right there. I'll bet that's from a white person. And I'm just like,
So you made your white daughter hate white
she
people.
was there's
fairness,
a
she
word
was
for that where it's like a self-hating white liberal or something. There's some name for it like that. And she was straight up that for like 6 months. And I had to bring her back down. And it's like, I'm glad that you care about these issues, but you've taken this too
The
far.
trash probably was a white person.
Yeah, probably. But
Given our history in America,
Yeah.
I'm giving it like a 90% chance.
But I'll say that every time that I think, like in my head at the moment, I'm like, oh, this is really awesome that I'm having this talk with her about civil rights or
Yeah.
whatever it might be. But then what she takes from it and repeats back the next day, I'm like, no. Like I messed up and we shouldn't have had that conversation. But in the moment, I feel great about it.
You're doing the right thing. I don't, whether it's not always, because I guarantee you for that story, there's 100 more that you taught her more about a subject that is somewhat taboo to speak about in everyday life or something. And she's taken it correctly. So I'm very big on when Carter comes home and is like, we learned about 9/11 today. I'm like, okay, let's sit down. Let's learn more about it. Let's talk about it.
Have you seen the actual footage? And I'm sure don't show her that, but
No, she's seen it.
okay, good deal.
No, she's seen it. I don't. I was, we weren't much different than her age when we saw it. It happened.
I was in 9th grade.
I
forget you guys are younger than me.
I was in 7th.
You were
Dude,
college.
I was in my freshman year at Tarrant County College, so I had planned my classes accordingly where I got to sleep in every day. And I remember I was sleeping in that morning, and my buddy called me, and he was like, "Hey, turn on the news. Some jackass just flew a Cessna into the World Trade Center." So I turned it on, and we're both watching Fox News, and we're on the phone talking landline with a cord and all, and and as we're talking about how dumb you'd have to be to hit the World Trade Center on accident. As we're talking about that, the second plane hits like live on TV.
Yep.
And I remember we just froze. There was nothing said for 20 seconds maybe. And then he goes, "Dude, come to my house." And I hung up the phone, put on my clothes, and him and his dad sat there and watched the rest of the day. And it was craziest.
I was in 7th grade. That was journalism, and that's what I wanted to be my major for college for the longest time. That's a really weird side point. And we turned it on right after the first plane hit. Kind of the same thought. Like, of course, I'm in 7th grade. I don't know anything about terrorism. I don't know anything.
When it's like
any of
it's
that
not
shit.
even foggy out there. How did they hit that? That was
it
everybody's
was
thought.
right there.
Yeah.
And then the second one hit, and then the PA comes on. Like, if you have a TV on right now, turn it off.
They made them turn it off? Mm-hmm. Man, our school wheeled TVs into every classroom and said, "We are watching this."
You were a
because
bit older. I mean, remember we had 6th graders. Now I can choose to show my 3rd grader that stuff at home.
That's true.
But I'm sure a lot of parents of 6th graders would not be real happy if
I think because you're 38 and 36.
Correct.
I wonder if that 2 years makes a difference where they were like, let this group see it. But
probably
your group was.
And
not.
remember, I
Yeah.
was on the older end of the group, or
Yeah.
at least halfway through, and they were still younger than me. Like, she came home the other day. This is probably a couple months ago, and she's like, "We're learning about Mount St. Helens. Can we watch a documentary?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, we can. Let's find a documentary." Turn on a documentary, and she's like, "Man, I didn't know it was that serious. I learned about it in school, but now I see it. I can actually see the footage." And I'm like, "Yeah." And we learned about it. We watch a lot of nature documentaries. She has questions on earthquakes and tornadoes and things like that. And for whatever reason, it doesn't scare them, especially with tornadoes in this area. I'm kind of weird about like showing them. Abby will get scared about it. Carter's like, this is really interesting to learn. And it's about how you teach it. And I don't know.
Yeah.
They deserve to know the things they're being taught about.
That's one of those where I get why school doesn't do a deep dive on certain
Yes,
issues.
agreed.
But if she comes home and she's like, "Hey, I kind of heard about this subject. Now I'm smarter and I think about my words before I say it because I'm trying not to radicalize her." But like that's so exciting when she's like, "Hey, like Dad, I learned about 9/11 today," like you're saying, and it's like, let's have a conversation. And like you got to think though, like in 5 more years when they're all watching YouTube, she's gonna come home and say, "Dad, like." I saw a thing on YouTube where there weren't really any planes that hit the World Trade
Right.
Center and it was a missile or the government did it.
Right.
We're only 5 years from that, but right now we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Yeah, well, if knowledge is power.
Yeah. So,
And if they have questions, I want to answer them. And I want to answer them as well as I possibly can. And obviously, media is not always the best way to do that. But sometimes a biography on Mount St. Helens is the best way to do that.
That's the greatest thing of YouTube. Like YouTube has all the new content and people talking about whatever you're into, but you can just go on YouTube, Mount St. Helens, and boom, there's 50 documentaries to watch on that. So
what? This probably is the same, but we did grow up in school in different areas. You went Texas, Arkansas, New Mexico, and here. What was the most extreme punishment you saw given in school? Like, was there anything that stood out to you at all?
Were they still spanking when you were in school, Grandpa?
So I'm not that old.
That's kind of what I was asking.
Suspension was it. I got suspended my senior year for a hazing freshman. You guys remember the movie Fear and Loathing? Or no, not sorry.
Bullying is thrown up. It used to be hazing.
Yeah. So it
used to be hazing. Now it's bullying. Okay.
Dazed and Confused days.
That was my point from last time.
Yeah. So I still have the paddle. It's in my closet at home. I'll show you.
FAHQ?
Yeah. So I'll show you my paddle. And me and a group of guys hazed some freshmen, and we were cool about it. Like they knew it was coming, so they met us at the park. We went easy on them, and then one of the kids told their parent, who told the principal, and the next thing I know, we're on the principal's office, and it was a whole deal. And I think there was Crime Stoppers was involved. Did you guys have Crime Stoppers?
Yes.
I mean,
we had. I had Dare and Crime.
I never got them involved in my situation. You guys were probably right smack dab in that Dare.
I think somebody got $50 for turning us in, but yeah.
Nice.
So
nice.
That happened.
So would you say you enjoyed spanking?
No, so what's funny, and I'll go back and think about this real quick, but I don't think I actually, at the time I was telling him, I was like, I don't think I actually hazed anyone. Like I was there. We had 2 or 3 guys that were really, really geared up to smack them with the paddle, and I wasn't one of the, it's not my thing. Like I'm not looking to inflict pain on anybody. So had we had cell phone cameras, I definitely would have been the guy recording. That's my role. So anyhow, what about you guys? Anything that you remember totally messing up with your kid?
Man,
everything?
Everything. Yeah, everything. I don't know if it's messing up. So Letty 4, we are informing her about nutrition, kind of tying both topics together, right? And in that, we tell her the importance of having protein and having your vegetables and the vitamins that are in it and all that, and avoiding the sugars and stuff.
Told you.
But she is so fixated. She says regularly, well, is there protein in this? I don't want that. This is good because it has protein. Like when we go down the grocery store aisle, she's picking out like which one says, she knows what protein looks like. I'm not saying she can read the word protein, but she can recognize the word protein. Yeah. And she said that one says protein on the front of the box, and get it. And I'm like, oh, well, it does say. And she said, does that bioengineered ingredients? And we're trying to avoid that. Yeah. And so... yeah, it does. She goes, okay, we can't have that. It's not good for us. So we're going to have something with protein. She knows meat has protein, and that's it. So I don't know if it's messed it up.
Damn it, Letty, I just want my Pop-Tarts.
Right.
Like, it's not.
That's breakfast in my house is a battle because my kid wants either Cocoa Pebbles, Pop-Tarts, or toaster strudels. Those are the 3 things she wants. And I've been fighting a battle for the last 2 years where I'm like, hey, start your day with protein, please. Like, I'll scramble you an egg. Like, what can I make you? And like, she all she wants is chocolate sugar in the morning. And we fight about it a lot. I always come up with new proposals where I'm like, 1 day a week you can have a Pop-Tart. The rest of the days you have to eat what I'm going to make you.
Carter's sweets in the morning, like
it's rough.
Cereal, all that. Abby will do a little more.
They did a study. Frequently. Kids that start their day with like carbs and sugar versus like a protein, like an omelet or something like that, they never, their body is catching up all day long. Like it's the worst way to possibly start your day. And I know that. And it's just one of those where I would think that as a dad, I could be like, hey, you're going to eat what I'm putting on the plate. Like if you don't want it, you're not eating anything, but I don't have that power. Like we argue about it. And then I end up being like, okay, just today you can have a Pop-Tart.
My kids are out of bed before me. I get to work at 7 and my kids are still out of bed before me. And they're eating by the time I get out of the shower and get ready.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I should probably wake up earlier, I think is what that means.
You spent many years waking up at 3 in the morning.
3:30, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you live that manager lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not, the last 12 years that I worked there, I was a store manager, so are we saying where that is? Let's not, yeah.
No, we're not.
But yeah, no, so it was 3:45, 4 a.m., wake up 5 days a week. Like on the weekends, if I slept in, that was like 6 o'clock maybe. Mm-hmm. And now I got to tell you, my body has totally reverted. Now I'm the guy that's up till 1 a.m. and sleep as late as I can.
I'm still real hardcore on the 10 to 6.
Yep. Night out.
You text me after 10, I'm probably out. You text me before 6, probably not getting it. In fact, there is only one person who will text me before 6.
Justin.
Yeah, it's Justin.
I was actually awake the other day when you sent that text.
I know.
He sent a text and then unsent it, which is the shadiest shit ever. Like I was up for whatever reason. I think I just woke up that morning and had all my energy. But woke up and my phone rings and it says on my watch that it's Justin, doing a message. And then I go to my phone and it's gone and it says Justin deleted a message. Anytime I see that, I'm like, what the hell was he up to? And then later he resent it.
No, I will say the whole every marriage will consist of one of two people so far is held pretty true.
Okay.
My wife can sleep from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. and be tired by 5 the next day. I can go to bed, especially on the weekends. I can go to bed at 11 after a few drinks and wake up at 6 and be fine till midnight the next day, whatever. I know you can go to bed you don't, but I know you could sleep plenty. And I don't think she does sleep as much.
She does.
She does?
Yeah, she sleeps pretty late.
Oh, does she sleep late?
Yeah.
I figured she stayed up later than you.
No, I'm usually the last one asleep, first one awake.
Yeah, that's me, for sure.
So, like last night, went to bed at 11:30. Birthday fun times, and then I woke up at about 5:10 this morning.
Dude, I had Justin in a bar until like 11:30.
It was late.
Greatest accomplishment of my life.
It was late.
Yeah. As we were sitting there, I was like, I can't believe you're here this late.
Now, he came from the airport.
True,
I would
yeah.
like to fill that spot
Had I
in.
not been coming from the airport, I probably would have pushed it like, do you want to meet at 8:30 for oysters?
I was my birthday, and you texted me at like 10:15, and you were like, hey, you want to go down to Cherry Street? And I was so shocked. I was like, what? Like, yes, let's go now. And
So
then
I was kind of annoyed that night. I'm just going to lay it out here. Not
Okay.
that I wasn't invited to the oysters. Didn't care about that. It was already too late for me. I was done.
okay.
I had reached out to Stephanie earlier in the day to see what your schedule was for the weekend to get you to go out and do something. She told me you were busy that night. You were.
I did
You went to the
chains,
chains. And
All right,
then-
so chains real quick. I do the chain gang for the local high school football. I don't want anybody to think I'm beating somebody with chains. Go ahead.
paddles, chains, whatever
Yeah.
it is. It doesn't matter.
into it.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that night's off. And then I hear the next day, like, yeah, we went out last night. I'm like, well, shit. I forget that you will go out literally any time of day, anywhere.
That's when I go out. Like, I put my wife and daughter to bed, and then I leave my house at 9:15, 9:30.
You live in fucking Egypt. I don't get it, man. I
See,
just don't get it.
I'll tell you, Tulsa, it's a whole mentality thing where in Texas, if I was like, I lived in DFW, which was very populated, stuff all around me, but to get anywhere, it takes 15 or 20 minutes.
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
Anywhere.
I laugh because up here, I'll drive 20 minutes away, which 20 minutes up here is 20 miles.
Correct.
20 minutes in Texas is 5 miles, but it's stoplights and traffic and all that. But I'll drive 20 minutes to go up to Cherry Street, and people are like, you went all the way to Cherry
Yes,
Street? It's like
correct.
it's 20 minutes. Like, that's nothing to me.
I
But
will die on this hill as well. I'm
you-
dying on a lot of hills tonight.
if you grew up in a smaller city like Tulsa, 20 minutes is the clear other side of town. But for me, it's not. Yeah, so
No.
that's why I didn't even think. Like, I told him earlier in the week that I was like, yeah, Friday after Chains, I'm probably gonna go to Cherry Street and get some oysters. That's kind of my birthday tradition. And I didn't even think about texting y'all because I knew I was like, they're not gonna meet me out there at 10 o'clock. Like, that's not happening.
Probably not.
So
Yeah. And the only reason why is you had mentioned it earlier in the week,
Yeah.
and I was arriving at 10:15
Now,
p.m.
you text me, I want to go out at 7 o'clock in the morning to go disc golf and go drink. I'll be like, okay.
you'll go disc golf with me?
Yeah, I will. I will. Yeah.
Okay, let's go Sunday morning.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Heck yeah, Justin.
No.
Okay, Kyle, Sunday
I
morning.
don't see why not.
Yeah, no, it'll be
Why,
fun.
You're out? Oh, do you work?
I might work at church.
Yeah.
I haven't got a reminder about it. But I will be going to Kansas on Monday. So the day before I go to Kansas, I usually spend the whole day with the family.
Gotcha.
That's fair. So we'll see you Sunday morning? Or no. One of my toxic traits is wanting my kids to succeed in athletics, though.
No.
I know.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think it's an uncommon thing for dads.
Are your kids good at sports?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. You got Abby, the soccer machine. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
I sensed that in our texting. You absolutely, it felt like you did not want to be you did not want to say like, yeah, she deserved that, because she absolutely kicked straight at that girl.
No, disagreed still. And I am the biggest
I know you are, but I
The
think
person who will call her out on her
in
bullshit.
this situation, it feels very like I'm watching her leg go the opposite direction of the ball, not looking at the ball, straight at the girl who threw a punch at her.
On Abby
This-
kicked somebody or what happened?
No, oh god, no.
No, she missed.
No.
Okay.
She wouldn't miss if she wanted it. Just saying.
I've seen her
Okay.
miss trying to
I
kick girls.
just saying if she wanted it, she wouldn't have missed. No, she is now 2 games in this season with 2 yellow cards, and I sent Justin the footage of the yellow and to see what his thoughts on it were because I didn't think it was at all. And he's like, "Yeah, no, here it is."
I don't think she should have received the yellow card because the other girl started it.
That was my only point.
And I was saying Abby was intentionally kicking at the girl.
Nah, I still don't think so. She would have kicked her.
I bet if you asked her, she'd
I'll
tell
show
you.
you after.
Can't wait. I don't know soccer rules yet. My daughter's been
So
playing for
yeah,
3 or
in
4 years. I don't know.
OPL, is it like the yellow cards stack?
No.
Match to match? Okay.
Nope.
But it's very quickly refs talk and then
Yeah, no, she's just
Yeah.
known out there.
As
She is
the-
100% known out there. And now that she's played against all these OPL teams, the refs talk to the refs about her before the game.
Yeah.
And it is.
it's a lot of unfair bias against her.
There is 100%, and it's because of her size. Now, does she foul? Is she a little bit of a dirty player? Yeah, just a little bit.
Everyone is.
But like in this game was a good team that we played, and we beat them for the first time, and it was really exciting.
That was exciting.
And
She had a sweet shot too.
yeah, she megged
It
a
was
girl,
amazing.
megged a girl, and scored. It was great.
Is that on film also?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not as visual clean as a vision because it's way across the field. This camera just sticks in one spot and kind of goes like this. But she completely got in this team's head. A girl threw a punch at her at halftime, got taken out of the game.
That girl that she got the yellow card against also threw a punch at her.
Yes, right. She was in their head just
Like
by.
at her face.
Now that somebody told me the other day that Abby got punched or had somebody throw a punch at her at a game. I forgot all about that, but yeah, I'd
Yeah,
heard
that
this.
happened this weekend.
Okay.
How'd you hear? Who told you that?
It had to have been Justin or yeah.
Who could have told you?
I will say though, like Abby is very good at walking away.
Yeah,
So like, because I'm watching this stuff, I would have straight up clotheslined that kid. Because I'm watching the video and the first thing I saw was that girl just threw a punch at Abby's
yeah.
face.
She walked away and
She
asked for a
turned
sub.
around and walked out.
If I played it 3 seconds longer, she's asked for a sub.
Yeah.
She's like, "I've run.
I need to get out.
I'm gonna do something. I need to walk away."
That's huge. I don't think guys would do that.
At what age can we start teaching our daughters to be, I'm going to say a pest, but like Dennis Rodman back in the day, where
That's a
just
great-
chipping, and then
That's-
get you to make the foul.
That's a great example of what Abby does.
Okay.
Except she's the bigger one.
So she gets the fouls.
Yeah.
So she like people will sprint into her full speed and they'll be like, well, don't do that. Why
But
did you call a foul on her?
Is that a strategy that like you and her discussed, or is that just her nature
Built
is to
in there.
fuck with somebody?
Built in there.
That's her
Got
nature.
it.
It's awesome to see.
Yeah.
I love it.
That was back when we played football. We'd have like, it'd be a weekly competition. Like if you can draw the other team to make a personal foul, like especially like on a field goal or so on some weird thing, like if you're on special teams, can you get the other team to draw a 15-yard penalty just from you talking smack or whatever? And that was, I don't know, it's fun. That's the chess of a sport. And
Well-
I think we should get our daughters going down
Well,
that road.
and the fact is, so on that camera you can hear the coaches, especially it's always over by the coaches. She actually drew the coach's game plan out of him because when she scored, the next thing you hear is, "You knew what we were supposed to do. We're supposed to double that girl when she touches it and work it out past her." And like he just yelled it, and everyone all of a sudden was like, "Oh, so we just use her as a decoy the rest of the game." She touches it and passes it and moves, switches field and moves, switches field and moves.
Yeah.
And they could never touch the ball after that.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, she got in all the kids' heads and she got in the coach's head.
She can do that.
Success.
Success.
Well, gentlemen,
Zen?
no, thank you.
All right.
I believe we can call that one.
Yeah. I don't think we've been recording for at least an hour and a half. I don't know.
Yeah, at least. Thank you for tuning into another edition of that GD podcast. Andy, anything you wanted to say today? I really wanted Andy to say like and subscribe so I can cut him off
Oh,
again.
man. Yeah, you totally cut that. Like,
Yeah, I
you
sure
joked
did.
about it.
That's great.
But you cut it.
That was
like
great.
button.
Smash that like button, everybody. Thank
Yeah.
you for listening.
I'm going to cut both those
Later. Like and subscribe.
I don't want to wait
with my
for another GD podcast again.
Just isolate that. And